Welcome to Big Blend Radio, where we celebrate variety and how it adds spice to quality of life.
I'm going, you're going.
Please welcome to the stage the phenomenal Teresa Tudury.
Hollywood party. Get out, get out, get in.
So now I'd like to sing a new song for you that I've written recently because I'm making my comeback. And this song is called, well, I won't tell you what it's called. It's, it kind of speaks to America, what's happening in America these days. I know, don't worry, it's going to be all right. And it kind of speaks to what's going on. And the first sentence is the title of the song. Where did all these horrible people come from? What spooky sci-fi movie is coming true? Where hateful aliens possess our loved ones, replacing the kind folks we thought we knew. Where did all these horrible people come from? What sperm bank did they rob to get the strain that's led to this dreadful mutation of hateful people born without a brain? Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? They're stealing the whole show. They're after me and you. Quick, pretend you're stupid. They'll think you are their own. The earth is flat. If you say that, they might leave you alone. Where did all these horrible people come from? What lab leak brought this virus to our shore? A U-Haul is unloading at the corner. Are neo-Nazi fascist commies moving in next door? What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? They're after me and you. They're stealing the whole show. Does everyone have ammo? Does everyone have guns? The nightly news is worse than blues. It's giving me the runs. Where did all these horrible people come from? And you learned what they're doing to my soul. I'm succumbing to a numbing paranoia and behaving like a raving rectal hole. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? They're stealing the whole show. They're after me and you. Oh, I know we must be patient. I know we must be strong. If we're to save our nation, we've got to get along with all of these horrible, horrible people. I'll see you at Mom's Thanksgiving dinner.
So welcome, everyone. You know, every Sunday we have got Johnny Schaefer here on Big Blend Radio, especially on our Big Daily Blend show, which is also on our Big Blend Radio Toast to the Art show today, because we are talking about music. You just heard the song, All These Horrible People, a 30-second clip. If you're listening on our audio podcast sites, or if you're on YouTube, you got to see the video, which features Teresa Tudury, and she is here as Johnny's guest. And so welcome, Teresa. How are you doing?
I am really well, and I'm delighted to be with you, Lisa and Johnny. And my name is, right off the top, my name is Teresa. It's just it's a little different.
Yeah, that's important.
But it's my mother named me that for a little nun who took care of her in the Dominican convent when she was a child. And so I'm named for Sister Teresa.
Teresa. Well, excuse me. And yes, thank you for straightening me out, because nuns did straighten out my knuckles, which are now bigger because of nuns in Kenya. And they did whack my knuckle.
Wow. Those are horrible people. Those are the horrible people we're talking.
Actually, no, they saved our butts. They did. The Carmelite sisters in Nairobi, Kenya. My mom used to teach them art, and she actually got blessed by the papal nuncio to be able to go behind the bars, because these were the cloistered barefoot nuns. She went behind the bars, and we call them the bars. It wasn't a bar, trust me. But they made me birthday cakes and cookies and taught me gardening and all kinds of stuff. So but then I was kicked out of a school and put into the convent, and that's where the knuckle.
Bangers.
So I was
Now listen, Lisa, stop. I feel like I should be interviewing you, because of being in a convent in Kenya somehow is like terribly interesting.
Well, you get kicked out of school for hitting a kid because he hit you and you hit him. And then, no, we were in Kenya at that time.
Okay. Well, just let this be a lesson to you children who are watching this podcast now. Just
don't go to the convent.
Don't go to the convent and keep your knuckles to yourself.
That's true. Johnny, you kept your knuckles clean, didn't you? How are you doing?
I did. I went to public school. I'm doing great, and I'm really excited to have to spend an hour with two of my favorite people. Teresa, I wanted to have you on the show for the longest time.
Thank you.
You can say her name correctly. You get points.
Yeah. Well, her album's called Perhaps You've Heard of Me, and I certainly heard of Teresa a long time ago, and I'm glad that the listeners on Big Blend are going to get to hear about her too, because she's just phenomenal in so many ways, like phenomenal songwriter, singer, guitarist, comedian. The list goes on, and a wonderful human being on top of it, just like you, Lisa. So I'm really excited about
thank
this.
you. Well, Johnny, you talked about her before on the show. I got to just wait. He talked about you on one of our Women Making History podcasts. Do you remember that? This was maybe a year ago, and talked about her. And then he brought it up like, can we do this yet? And I'm like, well, yeah. And you know what? I just saw a lady we interviewed, Tori Eldridge. She's an author, and she had just been to one of your house concerts. And Johnny said, well, I was there too. And I'm like, well, okay. So
in Altadena.
Teresa. See, This is why I don't know how to say your name right. I haven't met you yet or been to a show yet.
Yes. Well, maybe you will. I'd love to meet you in person.
And we can compare knuckles.
Yeah. Yep.
I have a feeling your knuckles look better than mine.
My knuckles?
Mine are not.
Yours are guitar playing.
God.
Keep them in shape.
It might have been whacked. But anyway, rulered to death. But no, but this is so exciting. You've got a new album out. And I know that you are in between websites, but the new one is Teresa Tudury music.com. Did I get that part right?
Yes.
Get points.
We're building it, but you can access it now. It's Teresa Tudury music.com. And do you want me to talk a little bit about the new album?
Yes, please do.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I've spent the last year and a half going back and forth. I live in New Mexico in very low rent, down in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Very low rent. Oh,
beautiful.
Yes. Down right on the border, which I love. I'm imbued in a wonderfully Hispanic culture. I just love it here. And then I would drive back and forth over the year to record this album in Clarksdale, Mississippi. with Charlie Musselwhite and his wonderful wife, Henrietta, invited me. He said, "You got to come here. We have a great studio for you. We got a great producer, come." And so I did. And I went across the country about 6 times through New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, and I really got a feel for the country, what's going on. And Clarksdale was a revelation. It's just a wonderful old blues town, and it's the home of Buddy Waters and John Lee Hooker and all sorts of people went through there. It's been a great experience recording there. And I think we made a really good album. And Henrietta Musselwhite, Charlie's wonderful wife, she is also co-producer on it. She was just unbelievable. And Gary Vincent is producer in studio in the most whack job studio I've ever been in my life.
Oh,
But
wow.
it was whacked because he walked in. It's like a warehouse and it's full of, like Mardi Gras carnival things and old instruments and people who were left over from some crawfish party and it was just great. It was
That's
just good.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And Clarksdale, I mean, that's everything. When you think about Mississippi and the blues, it's just such a,
Yeah, it was the hub.
it's everything.
Yeah.
And so to be able, and they have like a harp festival. Our friend Johnny Master goes and teaches there every year at this harp festival, blues harp
Oh
festival.
yeah, the blues is constantly going, and they have really, really old juke joints that are still operating from way,
That's
way
cool.
back, and the people are really into it. And the people there are so many musicians, and it just felt great to be there with them and hang out. So it was a great, great joy for me to record.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad that you're near Las Cruces, or you're in Las Cruces too. We do a lot in Silver City, New Mexico, and actually used
Oh,
to live in
really?
Tucson, so not far. And it's a huge art community and also home to the largest free blues festival over the Memorial
Yes.
weekend in Silver
Big-
City, New Mexico.
Yeah, it's a big blues festival. I think Charlie's played it actually, and it's just great. Yeah, it's nice here. I like it. Stay where
Mm.
you are, people.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, Johnny, how did you connect with Teresa? See, I got her name right now. I'm getting it.
Yes, you got it. We go way, way back. We used to both sing at lectures, not at the same time, but we both sang there. And I don't think she remembered me from that time, but I certainly remembered Teresa. And I kind of followed her the best I could over the years. And then, of course, that was before, the internet really kicked in. So I was able to find her on Facebook and reconnect. And then Teresa, you're so giving and you have so many amazing musicians that you've met over the years. And so then she started this radio program that she was doing for a long time called Live from the Double Wide.
I do know about that, yeah.
And she would play all of our songs by all of us, as well as we could coax her into playing her own. But she really focused on highlighting the work of her friends, told wonderful stories and, just that great personality. And so I was so happy to reconnect with you, Teresa, and get to know you better, and now to connect through music, which is the best way to connect.
And Johnny's doing such amazing work. I mean, I watched him like a chrysalis, because I know that he's always been a wonderful singer, but I wasn't aware of what a great opportunity he had. I mean, how his work is really beautiful, and it's also in service. He's in service to higher principles, and I love that. I listen for my musician friends. I listen for that spark of soulfulness and authenticity. And also, if somebody's trying to move the dial a little bit, try to get you to think or feel something, it has to be authentic. Johnny's one of those artists, and I used to love to play him on my show. It was 17 years of me skyrocketing my way to oblivion in radio, but I did have an opportunity to take care of some of my friends who really, really deserve to be heard.
That's awesome. And right now, we got to give a big shout out to Johnny because his single Find a Place is kicking butt. He's been doing a lot. Tell everybody about that because the video came out. We had Stefan on the show and, you've got Charles Albright on there with sax. I mean, give everyone the update on this. You can't not come on now. Last time you were
Well,
on the show, you gave a little hint. We talked about it with Stefan, but we didn't have the video to play because everything hadn't been released. So now it's out.
yeah.
Singer-Johnny.com, y'all. Go there.
Well, I don't want to spend too much time on it because of Teresa being here, but yeah,
But
it's
I think Teresa would say we need to give him a shout out, right?
Oh, yeah, sure, absolutely.
well, we've been I've been working with the folks at smoothjazz.com. Sandy Shore has kind of built this empire. I'm not strictly a smooth jazz artist. As many people know, I totally confuse the algorithms because I like to do all kinds of things and I like to mix different styles together. And this song happened to really fit that genre. So I worked with them and they've connected me with dozens of radio. I think it's over 100 radio stations now that have played the song already. And we are #1 on the listener countdown this week. It's a song about meditation and about, finding that place within yourself in this craziness that we're all living through. And then, so the idea was in the verses, sing about all that. And then in the chorus, I invite people to go within. And then Gerald Albright takes us to that place in the bridge with a solo. So yeah, thanks for checking in about that and all of your support, Lisa and Teresa, and I really appreciate that. I wanted to talk a little bit, Teresa. There's so many poetic lines on your album, and one of the ones that caught me this afternoon or this morning when I was listening to it is it's in, I think, Winter Hat.
Yeah.
Where you say there's a drop that's you and a drop that's me in this river flowing by. There's a star for you and a star for me, way up there, way up high. I always, I like to think of us being connected, and that line really stuck out to me as a beautiful, poetic way of talking about our connection to each other. So, for those of you who are into lyrics, which I really am, not only does Teresa have just stunning melodies and well-constructed songs and gorgeous guitar playing, and the other, Charlie Musselwhite and all the people that play on the album, but also just the informed messages that come through the songs. And there's usually a healthy dose of humor in there on top of it. And so beautifully packaged, and it invites you in and helps you to learn things and explore things and feelings and expresses things that we all wish we knew how to express. And you do it so well, Teresa. So
Wow, thank you. I feel like I'm at my own funeral. I can't even imagine a kind of more wonderful assessment of work. But that song, Winter Hat, I'm so delighted that you chose that. That song I wrote just before my best friend died. And I had an intuition. I had an intuition that he was going to leave. A few months before he did, we didn't even know he was sick. And there's a star for you and a star for me and a drop in the river, and you always, I remember saying, you always were a gentle rain. I was like a hurricane, but still, that he contained me my whole life since we were 12 years old, 11 and him 12. You know how wonderful it is and how difficult it is to be a human being with a heart and a soul. And how do we get through that? How I look back at my life and there's been so much trauma and drama and weirdness, along with the beauty and the synchronicities and the strange things that kept me going. But every human life is such an incredible story, and we have millions and millions of these stories. And when I look at someone like you and someone like me and Lisa, we're charged somehow to carry the heart, to carry the soul for people, because nothing connects us like music. It's like the most direct, and I feel like it's a holy cause, So I'm really lucky that I was able to avoid big success as well as I have. Like that big pyrotechnic bullshit, you have to, then you have to get plastic surgery and have your breast and your ass reupholstered and everything. And, and
Did you say your ass reupholstered?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God,
that's next. Yeah. That's but all of a sudden you're like a walking Madame Tussauds. It's like, I love Dolly Parton, but God help her, but these are great. It's a great calling. And I always try and tell people it's not about the money and the fame, although that's nice if it happens, but It really is the holy charge of being a troubadour. It's a hit by lightning job,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's important. It's important. Also, there's an authenticity in your playing. And,
Mm.
just even for those who watch this on YouTube, and I say go watch on YouTube, all these horrible people. Well, there's there's, yeah, really, there's millions and millions of them.
Lisa, there's a little caveat in that I wanted to make sure that whoever was on the right thought it was about people on the left, and who was ever on the left thought it was about
Yes.
people on the
That's
right.
what I was going to say. That's
Yeah.
that's the thing. Everybody gets
Yeah.
angry, but there's an authenticity about how you sing and play. Like, you don't need the orchestra. You know how to just sit down and play and be real. And in the world of AI and art and music and everything, I just had a conversation about this literally with some filmmakers, and then we're talking about the cycle is coming around. In fact, I think AI is going to push musicians like you and Johnny even further
Yeah.
to the forefront, because we are going to crave humanity.
Yeah. Hopefully. I think of all the wonderful voice artists, narrators and actors and stuff whose voices have been commandeered by AI.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart. And you hear this,
Yeah.
magnetized, sound in a voice that is once used to comfort you, or once you relied on it, or it's a really like Peter Coyote or somebody, or what's his name?
Yeah.
Or Morgan Freeman, and they're stealing their voices and using them. It's criminal. But what are you gonna do? I don't know. We just have to keep being.
I think we go to extremes in humanity, and that's how we find balance. We have to go to extremes, and extremes can be in positivity and negative. And
Yes.
that's how the balance comes. It's like the seesaw, right? And right now we're on a crazy, weird, up, down, all around stupid zone. I'm just going to call it that. But I hope that the arts, like if you take away art, we take away music, there is no life force. Music is part of breathing. It is part of everything in our soul. If we wake up and there's no birds, that means we have no music. And so I always, we travel full time. And my first thing in the morning, I go by song, bird song, to wake up and or go to bed with it. Depends where I am. But the bird song is everything, right?
Yeah.
And it is what a singer that, it started in Native American and indigenous cultures. It starts, even the flute starts with the woodpecker and the mockingbird, and they go on up and into these different levels of flutes and notes and things. But music is everything, and it encapsulates memories. I mean, we've done so many shows, right, Johnny, on this.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to run to it. And I think where Teresa's music sits in this, you're just singing something for me that I need right now. Thank God. I know. And Johnny, with your latest song too, is the same thing, because you're caregivers in a way, like you're healers in a way.
Lisa, I found, because I'm in connection with quite a few people who are really having a rough time knowing what their direction is anymore, because it seems like all of the definitions of our lives are being really questioned,
Yes.
and there are a lot of people who think, they're confused. I certainly have been confused about, if I'm supposed to, what's the word, market myself or get out there at all, or, does it make a difference anymore? Things are difficult and frightening and everything. So I always try to remind people, because I need to hear it myself, that the job's important. The singer-songwriter, the performer, the artist, the creative, it's really important. People need it now more than ever. And, now's worry about the finances. You will be cared for somehow, one way or another. It'll happen. If your heart is pure and you're devoted and dedicated to doing the best work you can. And, it will all work out.
And I think we're supposed to be doing this. I mean, I used to go around when I was 4 years old telling anyone who would listen that I was going to be a singer-songwriter. I took a huge detour into the corporate world for 30 years, but
I
I
can't
finally
even
got
see
there.
it, Johnny. I can't even. I like knowing you. I'm like, how the hell did he do that? Sorry.
I kind of went into autopilot, and yeah, it was weird, but I finally found my passion, and
He
kind of
found
like
a place.
Yes, I found a place. Yeah. Lisa, I want to make sure that the listeners have lots of context with Teresa because her life and career have been so brilliant. Teresa, can you kind of just walk us through a little bit about, your journey, all the people that you've met, and if you care to?
I'd love to. I was thinking about that because apparently it turns out that I'm interesting. You go.
Very.
I never dreamed. I knew that I was interested in everybody I was reading, but I didn't realize that one day I would be interesting because I've had this weird life. But I started professionally when I was 15 and a half, and I was in a band called the All Night Apothecary. Not the All Night, but yes. And the guys were really old. They were in their 20s, and I was like 15 and a half, 16. And a big gig was opening at the Fillmore for Johnny Hooker, Jimmy Reed, the Blues Project,
sweet. Yeah,
and the Electric Flag. And I had such and then also we opened for Big Brother and Janis Joplin.
Yeah.
Even when I was about 17, just Joplin took me out drinking. And I had such a.
And you're still here. Holy cow.
I had a wonderful experience with Janis because she was very, very bright and very deep. I really, it's a story I should tell someday, but it gets a little long. Anyway, she was wonderful. And then I left the band and I started my own life at 17 on the street. I had left home. We were fighting, my father and I were fighting over Vietnam.
Oh.
He said to me, either you straighten up or leave. And he thought I would straighten up. He thought he was, what is the word when you bluff somebody?
Bluffing?
Yeah.
Yep.
But I took it seriously. And the day I graduated from high school at 17, it was off to North Beach. And that's when the whole Haight-Ashbury thing was happening. I was living in North Beach amongst the bohemians and the poets and the writers, and I knew Lawrence Ferlinghetti and Greg Corso and all sorts of people that and then from there, commune, and then Europe. I lived in Europe for 7 years, traveling, and that's where I met Robert Graves, who wrote the I Claudius and the White Goddess, and I stayed with him for a summer. He was just so avuncular and kind. And then on to Greece, where I met Leonard Cohen, and we became very good friends. Leonard and I were pals. We were never lovers, thank God, because I think I don't know how much a person could take. But Leonard was a really wonderful man. And he brought me back to New York to meet Judy Collins because we made a demo tape of my work. And I lived at the Chelsea Hotel
Sweet.
for a couple of years and then back to San Francisco. I worked at Rolling Stone magazine. The last year it was in San Francisco, a real journalistic hub, and just kept on with my music and various relationships and a couple of nervous breakdowns and derailing here and there. But always the linchpin in the North Star was music.
And when you worked at the Rolling Stone, what do you think it was like then compared to now? How the media industry?
Incredible, because we had Hunter S. Thompson was there, and
geez,
and it was like it was a journalistic hub. People were devoted. Everybody was out of their mind on coke. I mean, that was it. But you kept this level of integrity, really, and devotion to getting the story and getting it right. We knew this FBI was all around, CIA, and people were trying to derail you. But these guys were so devoted. There was wonderful journalism. And I'm still friends with Charlie Perry, and I'm very grateful for that experience. And it taught me how to research, too. I can really dig.
When you were at the Chelsea Hotel, did you ever meet Mapplethorpe, the photographer?
I didn't meet him, but I opened for Patti Smith at the Max's Kansas City. I was the opening act upstairs.
Oh.
I opened for Patti I don't think she ever saw my show, but I saw her show every night. And then John Prine and all sorts of people. It was a very heady time in New York. And I was very fortunate. I was, but I was alcoholic. That kind of stunted my growth big time. And I got sober in 1983 and I've been sober ever since. Yeah. So it's all, it's an interesting story, but I've had illnesses that have derailed me as well. So it's not been a straight on trajectory, but I never abandoned the music, nor did I ever stop writing. And the people that I mentioned, like Leonard and people and Robert Graves, these were enormously, they had an enormous effect on my own heart and soul to keep going. And Leonard was so kind, so generous in his spirit, and so funny. He was very funny. He was funny in a weird way. Like, it was very dry. And before you knew it, you were looking at him, and he's very courtly. Me and his friend Anthony Kingsmill we used to get really drunk in the tavernas at night, and we'd bang on Leonard's door at 3 a.m. And Leonard would act like he'd invited us. Oh, Teresa, Anthony, come in. I've written a new song. Would you like to hear it? Well, okay. He said one thing to me. Am I talking too much now? No, you've let the cat out of the bag. Yeah. When I think we were having tea at Yorgos Lialios' house, and I was very upset because Janice had died, and so had Jim Morrison and
Jimi Hendrix too.
Jimi Hendrix. Oh. Yeah. And I was concerned. I was very young, 20, something. And I went to him and we were talking, and I said, I don't understand. I'm so confused. Everyone's dying. And he said, don't romanticize this in any way, shape, or form. Don't take this as some kind of destiny. Your job is to write. Your job is to produce and to write and to make music all the way through your life, all the way through every era of your life into your old age. That's your job. And of course, his last albums were spectacular as he was facing, what was next and writing about it. And if you listen to those latest albums, they're just amazing. What Happens to the Heart is a song that is, and he's in his 80s. So he did what he told me to do. I hope I can do that too.
Well, I think that's the thing is musicians are not so alone as maybe people think. An artist like a painter maybe. But even still, there's these groups of souls that connect, even like you and Johnny right now, right? Is part of that. And I think if you look in history, you'll find musicians team together, support each other. You can go to a new town and find a musician and have an instant family. Isn't that the thing?
If you ever go to one of these like Far West or the Folk Alliance, and that's supposed to be a showcase for musicians to show producers and venue owners and stuff what you could do. But what happens is the musicians bond and they get each other gigs, that we start to help each other do that. And it's a fraternity of sorts. And I love it.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. And Charlie Musselwhite, you working with him, because to me, he's like, I have a weird thing about harp players. There's certain it's the same, like it's a love-hate, and if you don't do it right, like it shouldn't, like it's an instrument that just throw some harp in there and someone who doesn't know how to play it. It's an instrument that should truly be mastered. And here's one of them, Johnny Mastro, Muddy Waters, did some of that. That was amazing. And there are some that need to stop it. So like that's why I say a love-hate. True. It's the same thing as you go, like everybody, just give somebody a tambourine who's drunk at a concert and I want to kill them. Like take the damn tambourine away, because there's also an art to it. I think seriously, Stevie Nicks knows how to do it, but does everybody know how to do what Stevie Nicks knows how to do with a tambourine? No, do not give it to the drunk person that can't get up off the floor. But Charlie Musselwhite, he did so much with Ben Harper too.
Yeah, it was fabulous, Ben Harper.
Oh my God. And for peace, just beautiful. And I don't understand how to say beautiful blues, but it's true. Beautiful, dirty blues. Yeah. Charlie Musselwhite understands that.
Not only that, he has a signature sound. When you hear Charlie, you know it's Charlie. Do you know how hard that is?
Yes, and that's what I say for a harp player and just all of it. And he's honest. And I think that's what your music is. I wanted to ask you, as an honest musician, obviously having stories to tell, right?
Yeah.
And you're doing house concerts. Like Tori Eldridge went to see you, and I know somebody, I think it was Johnny. Do you think that we're moving towards that so people can have this more intimate experience without the drunk tambourine player? There's a place for those, so I'm not really that snobby. But please don't do it around me. I'll take it. Show you what to do with it. But do you think house concerts is becoming a thing to do for
Yeah,
people
well,
where you
house
actually have
concerts.
that real experience. Like it's almost like having a one-person theater show in a way, even for
Absolutely. It's very good for me because I love to make the connection with the audience. But house concerts were a way for musicians to make money because, we really, when you get into the corporate world of the music, it's very tough. You're kind of an indentured servant. And then when you can your product, I sell CDs at my concerts. I can accept almost any job offer if I can sell my product, sell my work that exponentially. And I think a lot expands what I'm making. So I think a lot of artists really love the house concert venue. And I love it. I just played a big theater here in Las Cruces. I'm a star in Las Cruces. I didn't know, but I had such a great experience and I love playing in theaters. I love the lighting. I love the ability to be intimate with a larger audience and have that too. So that really is my big aspiration is theater work. And I love that. But the
Well,
house concerts are your bread and butter.
Well, yeah, and Teresa, what I love is it is like a one woman show. The stories that you tell and the humor that you throw in, and just I mean, I know at the concert that I was just at, there was an old stool that was giving you problems at first. I forget you said something so funny, something like "I have AAA" or something like that. It was just I don't know, just the you. It's a complete experience, not only the music, but you really draw people in and let them know you as a full person, and it enhances our experience of the songs as well. So
Thank you
if you
so
ever,
much.
yeah, if you get a chance
I
to
lo-
see Teresa in concert, do it.
Teresa. Call you Mother Teresa. That's what's going
No,
on.
sorry.
Yeah. But this intimate part of it, and you look at what's happening, like with, Alanis Morissette, Bruce Springsteen, and all of these musicians having like a Broadway play, telling their stories with the music.
Yes.
And I think that is the way to go. Like to me, that is because if you go in a bar, you can't hear someone. I've done the bar
Right.
singing where trash my vocals, and stupidly I thought I could oversing all the noise, and then I realized, and then you go, yeah, give me a shot of tequila and that'll help. No, it did not. I learned that too as I fell off a stage. But it
Oh
like
no.
truly, oh yes, yes. Yeah, we've yeah, have you? It's a shock. That wasn't me.
Not-
That was somebody else. But I'm lying on the floor.
Yeah.
But
It's
it
a
is
shock
trying to
It's a shock to who you land on.
oh well, yeah, I didn't get to land on someone, but
Wow.
but the reality is it is you were there's a trying so hard to get past the situation you're in, and as you work your way as a musician, and now people are doing songs on Spotify and everything. I know, Johnny, you're doing all the streaming stuff, that I also just really believe we need to have intimate venues where people can go and just listen.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have to be an alcoholic experience, and I think we're getting there. Yes, have a glass of wine or whatever, but it shouldn't be, I don't know, the barroom scene for musicians. And then everybody wants you to play Freebird, even if you're a singer-songwriter,
Yeah.
It's
But
like, it's weird.
I did the bars for years and years, and it's part of where you cut your teeth, where
Yeah, that's true.
you have to learn how to be able to concentrate no matter what. And then, you arrive at some kind, what's the word I'm looking, what's the kind of denouement with an audience that's reticent. It's very difficult. I've had moments where I just wanted the earth to swallow me, in the days when I worked in bars and stuff. But it strengthened me. And I'll tell you a quick story about one of my favorite musicians. His name is Stevie Coyle. And Stevie and I were working in a club in Sebastopol, California. And he is a brilliant musician. I mean, he's one of the greatest guitarists, and he's just a dream guy. Stevie Coyle, Coyle. Everyone look him up. And we were in this bar, and he was playing, and these people were rowdy and drunk and not listening. And I was feeling bad. I was sitting next to his girlfriend, who's now his wife. And I was like, I'm feeling bad for Stevie. But then I watched him do something that was just miraculous. I watched him completely ignore the audience. He didn't try and get their attention. He just went deep, deep, deep inside himself and just engaged with that song in a way that was so obviously his way of just doing, within a minute, the place started to quiet, and I watched it. It was like an energetic transformation that you had to see to believe. And,
Wow.
and it was all him. He ignored them and he went right inside and he played so beautifully and so intently and so to himself with whatever his muse was. And it just transformed the whole thing. And then from then on, the audience was really attentive and great.
Wow. So that's a learning skill right there because, to us, it's like, fight it. Your immediate thing is to fight it and overcome it. And that's how you fall off the stage and you lose your voice if you weren't trained.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did learn and then change gigs, change musicians that I was performing with too. And had really good
Yeah.
people from Canned Heat, Flying Burrito Brothers, Moby Grape, and all of that. That's who I was
Wonderful.
performing with.
Wow.
Get out there and really had to clean up and do it right. And remember playing a coffee house going, oh crap, and here's all the cops. And I'm like, what's going on? Nothing.
Yeah.
They're coming in for coffee. And suddenly people were listening and people were asking for originals. And I'm like, holy cow, what is this? And then the nerves came. I was so used to fighting sound that suddenly people are there to listen. And then I'm like, I don't know what to do. So, but all these journeys of a musician, and you've had all of these, and Johnny, I know you have too. I think it's important to discuss because people starting out are still going to go through all these, and it's just part of it.
And I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Okay. Also, there's the myth in your mind that there's going to be some magic moment where you make it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have this and you think like maybe you make an album and you think now they'll see, now they'll get, and everybody, you might put way too much expectation on a project and then there's always the time afterwards where you crash, and then you have to pick yourself up and keep going for me, it's like, it's a lifetime of work. I have to, I don't know why I'm talking about this, but in my own mind, I think I thought, oh, one day I'm going to break through into this big, and now I've had to square with, well, no, I've had a wonderful life in music, but it's been a smaller experience. And I felt apologetic about it. So like, oh, I was supposed to be a big star. I was supposed to do this or that. And so now squaring them, while I'm elderly now, the very fact that people want to hear me at all is like, it's fantastic. And I stayed true to myself no matter what. But I had to go through all of those phases of career expectation and everything else.
It just sounds like you've made a lot of connections that are authentic connections, like a tribe, right? People that work with you, like you've got Rickie Lee Jones, right? That's on the album. Johnny, you're talking about that too, with Cowgirls and people. You've brought these people along, and isn't that part of the joy of it versus, being Taylor Swift?
The best part.
Offense to Taylor, but
the best part though, Lisa, was I didn't ask them. They asked. They both Charlie and Rickie said they wanted to be, when they knew I was doing this, they wanted to be on it. And that was the best. That was the best for me because their friendship means more to me than anything, more than, moving my career. And so when Charlie wanted to be on it, he's on 3 songs on the album, and Rickie wanted to be on it. It was so great because I love them dearly, and you don't want to impose on your friends. Do you know what I'm people who, expecting favors or do something for me, or I just want to be friends. And she brought me in on several of her projects. So I got to sing with Lyle Lovett on one of her projects. And who's that great? Leo Kottke, we did some work for him. So she was aware of things that I've done on her show, on her albums, which are great. Rickie's a genius. There's no question about it.
Agreed.
That's what I was going to bring up was Running from Mercy, the song you're talking about. I mean, for me, it was finding out that you were friends with Rickie Lee Jones was crazy because she's one of the key musical figures in my life. I mean, when I was young, her songs took me places that no one else could. And it was interesting for me because I had been classically trained. And when I first heard her, I didn't get it because I couldn't understand what she was saying. And people told me, my voice teachers all, diction's so important. And so I had a college roommate who said, okay, all I want you to do is sit down and listen to Lucky Guy 3 times and read the lyrics while you're listening to it. And then if you don't like it, I'll drop it. And I totally got it because you hear the intense emotion that she puts into every single word and every note. And then I was a huge fan from then on. So I love that you're friends with her.
Well, the other thing about her too, she's a great producer. She has a great ear. And
Yes.
so, working in the studio with her was great. But also she affected a genre of female vocalists like nobody else. I mean, she had that kind of bohemian, pouty girl kind of, but deep at the same time. Her vocal approach just infused the entire, and people don't even know it, that the incredible influence she had. And she has a book out that's great.
Yes.
Autobiographical book, the Last Texaco, and it's great read.
So
you
what
did a really
happens?
good show with where you interviewed her about her book. I don't know, is it archived or I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know, somewhere.
Okay. Gotcha.
We did a great interview, but we cut it somehow, and we didn't get the whole interview. It was so much fun because she's a lot of.
Well, I think this conversation, perhaps you've heard of me, is the album, right? Which
Right.
is a perfect title, even with this conversation going on. How do people get that? I mean, is it streaming or is it mostly go to a show and get the CD? What's the best way for people to get it?
This is why now we'll demonstrate why because I'm the worst. I'm worst at promo, but I've got this new website going out, Teresa Tudury Music.com.
Teresa, everybody.
Everybody, cut it out. And then I'm on Facebook, and my friend page is the way to get a hold of me, not my personal page. And you can order the CD right now through me. And then eventually it's going to be on all the platforms, Spotify
Okay,
and all
great.
that, and it's coming. We're going to make a push very soon with it. And then I'm going to learn how to do things like, how to do right now. If I can get an email out, I feel very, very edified. So learning, and there's a talk about doing some documentary thing and other. Yeah. So
cool. So we will put the link to your website up on the show notes for everyone to be able to connect with you there, and then
Thank you,
Facebook
Lisa.
and get that out so people can get it. Johnny, you have more there? I know, I can see.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to one particular song for Paco because he and I saw you, Teresa, at I forget what it's called, the backstage in Altadena. I think it burned down now.
The coffee gallery, backstage at the
Coffee
coffee
Gallery,
gallery.
yes. And you sang,
You poor delusional man.
yes, Delusional Man. And I have never seen Paco laugh that hard. He was just in tears, doubled over laughing. And every time he hears that song, he just bursts out laughing. And it's such a delight. And it really highlights, Teresa's humor. The the setup is that, Teresa is singing to this man that she's obviously completely delusional, but she twists it around so that she's projecting that onto him. And it's fantastic. It's such a great song.
Thank you. It's very clear to everyone here that you are obsessed with me.
Where does your inspiration for your songs come from, do you think?
From a terrible childhood. It was dreadful childhood. And it drove me in. And when my dear friend Richard suggested that we take guitar lessons together when we were 12, my life started, because I had to go. I had to take care of my inner self, and because there was no help on the outside. God bless them. They had their own thing. Gladys and Arthur. They were, and I bless them now. I'm so grateful to both of them because I had the kind of childhood that a good artist should have. Miserable, and it's just it seems that really good art comes out of real misery.
That's what my mom Nancy says. Yeah, same
Really?
thing. Yeah. Sent her around the world.
Yeah.
Went halfway around the world. That's it.
Yeah.
Screw them.
Yeah. And God bless them. I look back at them now and I have a lot more compassion and understanding that they just weren't equipped. They were going through horrible stuff. And I was the firstborn and it was a mess. But I'm grateful. Today I'm very grateful. And that was the kind of childhood I needed to drive me inside. And it also is the kind of childhood that I still need that drives me even more inside and to my higher power, whatever that is. That's I'm trying to root everything in that. to come from that. Because now at this age, it's service. This is what I have to leave, right? I want it to be the very, very best thing I can possibly leave.
I think there's something with that. And Johnny, do you feel that too as a songwriter and a musician and, vocalist, that as an artist, no matter what medium actually, that you have to go through experiences so that no matter what you're writing, even if someone takes it a completely different way, your songs, that there's a connection where they connect with it. People have to identify in some way. Or
Yeah.
even it could happen, they could hear one song and not get it, and it can happen 30 years down the road, like, oh man, now I get this song.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
done that too. Sure. I've experienced that where I've heard a song. But also, I don't know how quickly, I was singing a song. It may have been Magdalena, which is, I'm very proud of Magdalena on this album, which is the story of Mary Magdalene, coming back to her village after the crucifixion. And she's greeted by a young woman who grew up with her. And it's quite a story. And Rickie we have harmonies. Rickie does the outro that's just exquisite. We put all of her harmonies together and made a chorus, like a Greek chorus. I'm very proud of it, but now I can't remember what the hell I was saying.
About people getting it immediately, like getting a song immediately.
Oh, thank you. I was singing this song, and I started with this friend of mine, and he was the first person to hear the song. It was always very important who you play the song for the first time. When you have a new song, boy, is that important to choose the right person,
Yes.
Oh my God, because it could be, But anyway, I was playing. And as I was playing, I started to cry. And he was brilliant. He said, keep going, keep going. And I was really getting into it. I was losing it, and he said, sing through it, sing through it. He said, sing through it. And so I was crying and singing, and then I hit that bottom, and all of a sudden he said, now keep going, keep going. I started to come up, and I started to come up, and I started to come up, and the song was just like, and I was back in my full throat and completely owning it. And he said, okay. And he taught me something brilliant. Then he said, you cannot ask your audience to go somewhere that you're not willing to go. It doesn't mean that you're going to go and cry on stage. We don't want to do that. But where you take that song, it goes so deeply with it and come back up, that is imbued in the song. Now, whenever you do it, you have bring with you that energy, that authenticity, where you went with it, and it's a gift. I don't know if that made any sense at all, but it was really a great experience that I would have this guy be that smart. So now with all my songs, if it makes me laugh, I know it's good, and I laugh through it, but I don't laugh on stage. And then if it makes me cry while I'm writing and working, I think, okay, go with it. Go with you're hitting a vein. And then, then you release that energy into the song. It's captured in the song, and then the people who listen can cathartic.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Johnny, for you, is that true too? Is like having to live through things. I mean, you had to go do the corporate thing, so you understand how people need more music if they're in that lifestyle.
Well, actually, yeah, the event in my life finally got me to where I immersed myself in music, because I got laid off from that corporate job completely unexpectedly. And then about a month later, my mom called and said that both she and my stepdad were given less than 6 months to live. And then COVID hit. So Paco and I just took that as a sign. Okay, well, there's a reason I'm available. And we went up to Olympia, Washington, and we were their caregivers for, until they both passed 4 months apart. And that I just, we were hunkered down with COVID, couldn't go anywhere anyway. So I just wrote music like crazy. That's where You Can't Hide the Light came out about, with, that I got to record with Melissa Manchester. And many of the songs that, I'm putting out now came from that. And I finally just really threw myself into the music. And it was a culmination of all these things that came together that kind of forced me there. It's funny because a lot of times I'll write a sad song when I'm really happy, but it comes from, so I think part of it is that you process things over time, and I'll see maybe there'll be someone in my life who's really sad and I connect with that. So sometimes I think I relate stuff that I've been through, but I pull it out later on. I don't know if that happens for you, Teresa, but sometimes things will germinate for a long time, and then all of a sudden they start to blossom, or the seed starts to grow, and then a song comes out. And at least that's how it works for me. I don't know, Teresa, what's your process?
God,
That's my message. Yep.
Or a cup of coffee, goddamn.
Yeah.
And then I pick up the guitar, and stuff starts to come or it doesn't. But usually, if a funny song, if a really heartfelt song comes out, eventually a funny song will follow it up. It's just weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like, but the other thing that's spooky for me is so spooky is that I have had premonitions in my music, so that lyrics will often reflect back what I'm about to go through, or a harbinger of whatever, a premonition of something in the future. I've written some really prophetic things for my life personally, and energetically for the culture, I think, for the culture, but for the neighborhood at least. It's interesting because you are accessing a deep part of yourself that is informative. Could be very informative. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, go deep. Love it. Well, thank you both so much. This has been fun. Links for hearjohnny.com always in the episode notes. And you can find a place on YouTube. Go check it out, Spotify, all those places. And keep up with Teresa Tudury, music.com. That's her website. It's also linked in the episode notes. And keep following her there and on Facebook so you can go get her album, Perhaps You've Heard of Me. It's been a true pleasure having you on the show, Teresa. Thank you so much.
My great pleasure, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you, Johnny, for getting her on the show. You've been talking about her. It's like, come on already. Let's get her on. I didn't know she was in Las Cruces, too. I mean, we drive by, we hang out, we go see the big Roadrunner every time we drive through.
Lisa, call me next time you're coming through.
We'll go out.
We'll go out. We'll have some burrito.
Yeah, we'll go. And we got to go. And you got the world's biggest chili pepper in Las Cruces,
Yeah.
I know. She knows that. We got to give a shout out to Shelley Armitage, who is an amazing poet and a jazz musician, writer, biographer in Las Cruces too. So we just gotta do something in Las Cruces. Something's going on artistically there. It's those Oregon
Mountains.
Yeah, just not that organ, but I just had to do that. Sorry. Thank you all.
Thank you, Anne. Bye-bye.
We are cowgirls through